here we are. I'm Tom Osman, and this is Whatever Comes Next, the podcast where I explore the world of underground and independent music making. And on today's episode, I am talking with Ailise Blake, or Ali, about her latest record, Soave, which is out this Friday on These Hands Melt. And this is one of these records where I heard just a small clip of the first track and I instantly thought, I like this. This is something that I want to explore, and this is a person that I want to talk to. And I was very pleased when I then read more information about her and about the album and discovered various different interesting elements to the process of the record and kind of the background to it. And I thought, this makes sense why this connected with me. So one of the things that we talk about in this interview is Ali's connection and practices with ceremonial magic and how that life is sort of intertwined with the creative process of her music. And some really interesting discussions going into her musical background from her childhood in Italy, going through to her time moving to Bordeaux and making music with JC Satan, and then going on to make music herself, and various different discussions about magic, about writing, about creative processes, about some of the specifics of the recording process of the latest album and the environment that she made it in, which is relevant to mention in terms of this interview. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that the visual side of Ali's connection is a little bit grainy, let's say. Sound, I think, totally came out fine. But Ali is basically connecting on this call from a fairly remote location out in the forest, which I think is part of what gives the album its particular atmosphere. But from a technical point of view, in terms of getting a strong video connection, unfortunately that's lacking. But hey, there you go. It's a miracle that we're able to communicate with each other in real time from different countries. So yeah, I just mentioned that. But you can take it as a sort of a quirky detail of the interview. If you're listening to this, you will not notice, I do believe. You can get hold of the record from These Hands Melt on Bandcamp, and you can follow Ali on social media on Instagram, where she is Ailise_Blake. You can follow me at Tom Osman Sounds. You can go to my website, tomosmansounds.com, to check out my music. I keep saying this, but I'm almost on Ampwall. Go there too to check out their music community. And in addition to that, if you would like to listen to the extended version of this interview, as long as other extended interviews that I have done over the past weeks, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/whatevercomesnext. I am soon going to be uploading there for free a little kind of coda episode from the Whatever Comes Next 100 DIY special in the coming days whenever I get around to it. But for the time being, my conversation with Ali, I'm going to play a short clip of one of the tracks, one of the singles from the record, in full at the end of this interview. And for now, there is nothing left to be said, but Ali, aka Ailise Blake, take it away. Pleased to meet you.
Ali, pleased to meet you too.
And I was wondering about this because you have several different stage names, I guess we can say. So I was wondering, is it going to be Ali or was it going to be something else that I should call you?
No. Ali is my name, is Alice. But you are interviewing for Ailise Blake. So that's the name of the band. Ailise Blake, pronounced like Billie Eilish, is the same, but it's written on. When people ask, I just say like Billie Eilish, like the girl. Or else is, yeah, before was Ali also. I had another project called Macabre. It was Ali Macabre, but it's always Ali. On my previous record, is always written Ali. But you can just call me Ali. You and I, we can, as I call you Tom, I mean.
Okay, that's all clear. Good. So when I first listened to the record, now again, pronunciation, should I call it Soave? Is that the way to say it?
It's yeah, it's Italian. It's Soave. It's not, it's
Soave.
more like oh yeah, perfect. You pronounce
Okay,
it perfect.
nice. I need to check because I mispronounce these things all the time. But
That's fine.
when I first listened to the records, like even just within like about a minute, I thought like this is totally for me. Like there was just something about the atmosphere, about the sound, and I feel like now that I know a bit about the way that you made it and like the situation of it, it feels like there's a lot in that process that probably comes through in the record in a way that's kind of hard to put into words from the outside. So I'm very fascinated to know from your point of view, like what was this process for you like of making the record, and why did you sort of intentionally, from what I understand it, put yourself in this very isolated mode to make it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I had another previous record that I record at my house called Songs from the Uncanny Valley. It was the first Irish Blake record I ever recorded. And it was very, it was like an impulse. I did it on my couch. I didn't have any gear, particular gear. I just wanted to be out. Some songs I just wanted to be released. This one, I had some plans. I wanted to do some more serious work in sound texture, instrument and recording choices, and I needed a place, but I didn't just need a place. I needed a studio, and it had to be in a very remote area, and I had to be alone because I work best when I'm completely alone. When I wrote Soave, it was written in 3 years, around 3 years, but all the recording that was the most intense part were made last year, and I spent months alone without hanging out or without even having any contact extern to my family. So, and it was a choice because I can't, and I didn't listen to any music either. It was a choice. It is more, I don't know, had to be, is linked with what I practice. I'm a practitioner in Western magic traditions and ceremonial magic. I do this, is in the same, is in my realms, and it goes along my composition in music. So it was composition and recording, but at the same time was also a ritual, a long ritual. And my studio is a place facing east. Is all cardinal points are written on my walls. It's a space where I perform also ceremonial magic and I record at the same time. And that it's good that you feel something about the environment when you listen to Soave, as you told me previously, because I mean it means that I achieve my goal also. That is not just listen to this music. I want you to listen to this record and like having the impression to be underwater, because it was the element that that I channeled the most during the writing and the recording. And it was very dark. I mean, the ambient was very dark. Not I was. It was very dark in the studio all the time. There was lights, very dim lights all the time, and like this for months. And I was very happy. It was like being in an aquarium. So
It's
I
very
don't know if
interesting.
that's what you were asking me.
No, that's exactly what I was asking you. It's very
Okay.
interesting to me that you bring up water, because I don't know if this was mentioned anywhere in the press release, but I was thinking like I was trying to put into words how the record makes me feel when I listen to it. And there is this element when I listen to it that I feel like I'm kind of going back to some kind of past experience that I
That's
can't quite
beautiful.
visualize. And I was even thinking like, oh, it's a little bit like sort of going into a dream or kind of like drifting into the water. So I think
That's
something of that
great.
quality does come through in the music somehow.
That's amazing. I passed this record to few close friends of mine, and everyone told me like, "Oh, I use your record to write, or I used your record to sleep, and or to draw. It makes me feel relaxed, and I was very, very happy. And the images you just evoked are exactly the things that I wanted to give to people an oniric experience and sort of going back to the womb. That's it.
That makes a
All
lot of
right.
sense.
Yeah, good. And all the track list of my record is built like a ladder. Is like as I previous mentioned, I follow that the thelemic path, and in the order, in the solar order of the OTO, which I'm a part of, Ordo Templi Orientis. The title of the tracks are the initiating degrees of the order. So you're starting from the Apollo, which is the degree 0, going forward to lustration, consecration, devotion. It is a path, it's the human path, and is linked to the Gnosticism. So that's what the track list is about. Of course, it's my own path, and I'm trying to explain it following this sort of ladder. All right, it's yeah, it's not very easy to explain, but I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I understand what you mean on a surface level. And I wanted to ask you about ceremonial magic. On your website, for example, you've got a quote from Aleister Crowley, I think, from one of his books. And so whenever I see anyone reference magic with a K, I think,
Yeah.
okay, there's something here like, I'm a big fan of Coil. I know that Coil and
Yes,
Current 93, obviously Current 93 took their name
of
from
course.
this magical practice, but I'm pretty
Well,
ignorant about, what this really means in practice. And I don't know how much you want to talk about these things publicly, but as
it's
much as
pretty
you want to
public
talk about it,
knowledge.
I'm fascinated to know like how you got into this and kind of how this is part of your life.
So the magic, well, Crowley and the order I'm part of was rebuilt, if you want, in with the Thelemic philosophy by Aleister Crowley. Okay, in around he wrote the Book of the Law. He was dictated the Book of the Law, and then he reformed the OTO. There was an order that already was existing, and with the telema philosophy and the Gnostic Mass as a central ritual of the order. It's a solar order. It's more an humanitarian order, the OTO. That's what it is. It's not a secretive order like we can say about Masonic and stuff. It's more like a discrete order, all right? Because all the stuff about the OTO, almost everything, is public knowledge. I mean, if you look for it, you will find them. Also, stuff that should not be outside, you can find, and there's a lot of literature about it. So I can talk freely of some stuff, and I can't, of course, talk of other stuff. I'm a deacon in my church, so I can just do, even if I wasn't a deacon, even if I was just a Minerva, like just the silence is a virtue that we try to keep. And yeah, when you see the K is referred to the ceremonial magic. Magic, like the magic of Aleister Crowley is the book Magic, for books, sorry. So what was your question again?
How did you get into this
Oh,
world, and
right.
what can you sort of tell me about what it means in practice for you?
Oh, okay. So I came across Crowley, well, a long time ago, I think like 15 years ago. I was always interested to his writing. I came across the Book of the Law the first time. It was the first thing that I read about him, of him, and I was completely captured and I didn't understand anything. But even today, when I read the book of the law, I might know some stuff, but it still changes and morphs every time that I read it. Because it's a book that will always change. And it's nice that you make reference to the current 93, which William Breeze was part of. And William Breeze is the most higher, is the caliphate or head of order of the OTO, is the boss of us all, if you want, because it's an order. You have a structure. It's not a democracy. So yeah, we are very linked to music. A lot of artists are inside. Which doesn't mean it's not in like a cult or a sect or anything. As I mentioned, it's a solar order. You can leave if you want. You can stay if you want. It's up to you. It doesn't teach you anything. It just gives you some tools for you and your research of your own self. That's what it does. And to me, the ritual, you were asking me about the rituals.
Yeah.
The practice, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I do my salutation to the sun in the morning, noon, evening, and night. And that's mostly what I do every day. So it's called the Resh.
And you mentioned when we started talking how your magical practice and your music sort of run parallel to each other. And I was thinking with Coil, for example, from what I read about them and from interviews with them, quite a lot of the music that they made was tied to magical practices and ceremonies that they had. So in terms of you actually making your music or the artistic process, how does that tie together for you?
It's more in the writings that I tie in my music because I'm also, I was a musician before being a practitioner. I've always been a musician. So I still write everything and do everything as I call myself a musician. But I link this to my practice because I can't do I cannot do it. I mean, when I write something, it's always linked to some of my dreams, and I know that my dreams are linked also to my beliefs and to my rituals and to my practice. And I try to give some homage, if you want, to the order, because to me it's a beautiful thing to be free and to respect the freedom of other people and to have to worship if you want not someone, not somebody, but the sun, having this openness to the sunshine, to the sun, like something that doesn't die, it's always there, and is a very beautiful practice, and that's why I wanted to bring it forward, but also because it's who I am and I cannot not talk about it.
Yeah.
It's what I do.
And going back into some of your history, your biographical history and your musical history. So you mentioned that you discovered Crowley about 15 years ago. Were you already in Bordeaux at that point?
Yeah, maybe a bit before, just before going. I moved in Bordeaux in 2010. I knew Crowley already a bit, but I start reading in Bordeaux. Yes, yes, yes.
So thinking about the kind of environment that you're in now, I'm wondering from your childhood in the north of Italy, what kind of environment was that? Was that quite a rural environment or was it more urban? How does that compare to where you are now?
I'm born in Pavia, which is in the north, in Padania. The thing I remember the most, and my family still live there. What I remember the most is the fog, is the cold, is the rice fields. So, and I wasn't living in downtown. I was living in a rural area outside called Mirabello, and but then I moved because my father was a journalist, he used to write. So we moved in Tuscany, in Grosseto, and I grown up there. I moved there when I was 5, and I grown up there, and so it changed everything because sunshine, humidity, the sea. It's another thing. Still, nature is a big part of it. I mean, Tuscany. I used to live in Grosseto, that it is in the south, in a land called Maremma, still a plain. Coincidentally, it's a plain. I was born in Padania, a plain. I lived in Maremma, another plain. There was where animals and the sea. The sea was everywhere. Maybe that's why I write about water all the time. Maybe, who knows? So yeah, rural,
Yeah.
definitely.
So do you sort of see that as, I mean, when you think about the experiences that you had after that, when you're in Bordeaux, when you're touring with bands, did you find yourself consciously feeling like you kind of want to go back to that more rural environment, or do you think you adapted to traveling around city to city, touring?
So I love to travel. I love. And the thing that the the thing probably that blocked me to want to coming back to the rural areas is because we traveled a lot. We used to travel for touring all the time, from China to the United States with my previous bands. One was JC Satan. We used to travel a lot. And I never had time to just stop and think that I missed something. Because every day I was seeing something different and was super cool. When I left the band, it was in 2017, because I had pretty serious anxiety problem that unfortunately impact my life a lot. And is in that moment when I stopped touring for good, that I start feeling this big hole and emptiness, and I couldn't stay in Bordeaux, because to me it was too messy, it was too noisy. I was in Bordeaux. I mean, I moved there to play with my band, and we just left all the time. I wasn't ever home. I never choose Bordeaux as my hometown. I love it. I love it. I love Bordeaux. But now every time I move to go to Paris, because I have another band called Etere, that we're two. I go to Paris sometimes. I love Paris. But as my feet touch the ground, I'm like, oh my God, I want to come back. I want to go back home. I miss my trees. I miss my animals. I don't know. So yes, it's funny you're asking me that, because I didn't have time to think about it, but I couldn't live in a city. I
Yeah.
couldn't. No, I
And
don't want.
at that time that you moved to Bordeaux, how was your French?
Oh, terrible. It still is, because after 15 years, I am pretty stubborn and I want to keep my accent in English and in French, my Italian accent, which sometimes people think I'm Ukrainian. I don't know why. A lot of people, are you from Poland or Ukrainian? No, I'm Italian. Look, I'm like 150 and black hair. I mean, what? The people, because probably I have a really strong accent, but I don't make any effort whatsoever to change it. So sometimes I still have people that ask me, "What are you talking about?" And I never study French. I just learn it in the street with my bandmates that speak probably not very correctly, like at school. So yeah, I still don't. I speak very fluidly. I can at work. I do everything, but I'm aware that it could be better. I mean,
One thing I'm interested in, as we've touched on dreams and we've talked a bit about writing and the creative process, for you as someone who speaks multiple languages, do you have or have you had over the years regular writing practice that you do in different languages? And do you notice kind of a difference in what you're expressing when you're using different languages?
honestly, yes, and I'm a mess. After 15 years living in France now, I I find myself thinking and speaking constantly in an English French language that doesn't exist. And at home with my family, I speak English. To my bunnies, because I have bunnies at home, I speak to them in English. Sometimes it's in French. I think in Italian. So yeah, I'm a bit. It's a fucking melting pot. Ooh, can I swear?
You can swear as much as you want, that's
All
fine.
right. And so yes, but when I write for example, I write the lyrics for my music. Sometimes when I wanted to express a concept that is pretty deep and not so clear to me yet, I start with the Italian, because it's still my. I study literature. I can speak proper Italian. At least one language I can speak it properly. So I start with Italian, and then I translate it in English. I always sing in English because it reaches more people. That's
Yeah.
that's why. That's the only reason why. There's not any shade or anything towards French or whatsoever. That's the reason. And so difficult concepts are just written down in Italian and then translated. I never write in French. It's really not my, I don't know why, but is of the three languages that I speak is the last.
Yeah.
Despite I'm living here. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I don't
funny.
know.
Do
And I
you
read in English, so I don't know.
do you have any particular kind of specific writing practice that you have, or sort of like you put yourself in a particular environment to write, or it's more that you just sort of you capture
So,
the inspiration when it's there?
oh yeah, I'm not somebody that can just write a song on command. I can't do that. I can rehearse on command because I know I had to do that, but the songs are always written in a moment. And when I say in a moment, it's really a moment. If I feel like, let me grab my guitar and the riff comes, that's it. The song is not. If it doesn't and you won't for months, it won't. That's how I write. And it's always been like this for every song I made. Nothing is ever planned. What is planned, and it's also what, in fact, I'm a pretty lazy, I tend to procrastinate a lot person, is the after, when I have to do all the recording work. That's the heavy part to me. But, all the songs are written in just in a very fast way, and then I do all the arrangements later. I have to say that when I'm writing, and I'm talking only writing, is fantastic. Is the really technical part of the recording that it's a pain in the ass to me, because I had to learn I do all by myself, all right? From the composition to the production to the recording, mixing, everything alone. So I had to develop skills that I didn't possess, and I still don't. I'm aware of this. I can, as I say, practice, and I'll be better. Next album will be better. I'm very satisfied of this one, but I know I still find myself listening to some frequencies that I don't like. So that's the tedious part I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This kind of. I listen to your musicals and I like it.
Oh,
I
thank you.
had to, yeah, the two record one was in collaboration with, you play guitar very beautifully.
Oh, thank you very much.
I was like, let me see, what are you doing? What you do? So, did I answer to your question? I ramble a lot and I get lost sometimes.
That's all right. I also ramble a lot and I get lost too. No, you're answering my questions. To what you just said there, I was also thinking, and I've thought this before, there's sort of a distinction, I guess, between what is craft and what is art. Like I sort of think of like carpentry, for example, like it's a craft. It doesn't mean there's not an artistic element to it, but there's like, this is the kind of thing that you hone the technique for. And I feel like with making music, there are elements of it that are like craft and you can definitely develop them. But I suppose it's like that sort of the inspirational aspect of it, I find, is something where something comes through, and maybe like if it's lyrics or whatever, I might think, oh, I want to like craft this into something else, but I can't necessarily do that because it sort of came
Drag the
out.
technique. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So yeah, it's very, and you see this if, for example, in Ailise Blake, I think that mostly is art. And when I say art, I'm feeling a bit of an asshole, let's say, because it sounds pretentious, but I don't know how to define it. It's very difficult to me to define my music. People want to categorize the styles of music, and I find it very difficult. Also, when people ask me what you do, I inevitably have to say I'm a musician, still feeling an asshole, or like I'm an artist. I feel like this kind of pretentiousness that I don't have really, but I don't know how to say to people what I do. So I think it's hard because I have some craft I can do. I have some techniques. I do. I earn it in years and years on stage and outside of stage. But I'm aware that I lack a lot of techniques. And sometimes when I want to craft something, I don't have the means to because I don't know how. And I like virtuosism in a way. You may not hear in it, but I like complex lines, and sometimes I find myself crying on why I can't do that. Why I'm not good enough to do something like, I don't know, Scott Reeder from Caius. He does some magical bass lines. Oh, I can't because I didn't practice enough. That's it. And also, it's sometimes it's the hands. I'm very tiny, so it can happen. So yeah, are two distinct things, different things. But I also think that a lot of bands, in very simple composition and with very simple techniques, can give us huge sensations and great songs. So, what comes first to me? Art always.
Yeah. No, I
Craft
can.
maybe later.
No, I can totally relate to that. If I was to pick out, let's just say, a specific track from the forthcoming album. So one of the tracks that I particularly like is the fourth one, Devotion. And going back to your previous comment about the kind of feeling of water, like there's a certain, I don't know what instrument it is, but you've got about halfway through, there's something that sounds like droplets of water. And there are other elements of that song where I just thought the atmosphere that you've created with the different instrumentation, with the sort of the backing vocals or the effects that you've got on your vocals are really beautiful. The way you've built all of this together. So I was
Thank
sort of
you.
wondering if we took that track as an example, could you explain a bit how that song goes from the original, like coming up with it to then layering it and recording it and the way that you got the sound of that?
So I write all my songs. I start with picking, guitar picking. That's how I write my songs. So every song I write with guitar pickings, it's completely different, or all not completely. The foundations they say is the same, of course, but from what is on the record, because it's a building processes. So I start with picking. Then I write down some lyrics that goes with the songs, but then I add the bass that changes everything, because it's like a sort of, I tend to mix bass and guitars, but bass is they kept the core notes, but if you listen carefully, they are really different. I try, and so what happens? Then I have to rewrite all the sing parts to adapt to the new songs because it's a new song. Now it's a different song, and then once the voices and the backing vocals also are out, I start adding like ambient noises, droplets, as you say, violins, piano. That comes later. The three keys in all my songs composition are picking, guitar, then bass, and then the voices. And then I add also the solos, guitars, and later, that goes later. And I tend to write not so linear bass lines because probably I'm a bassist and it's what I like to hear. I really like, as I mentioned before, like Scott Reeder or Paul McCartney also. I don't know. There's a lot of bassists that I really enjoy, and so I never liked simple bass lines. Which can be amazing. It depends what you do. To
Yeah.
me, it's just not what I like to to give. So yeah, I write my song and then I rewrite and I rewrite it. So that's how it goes. And the arrangements is very fun. Arrangements are funny. Come on, it's the best. They are the best.
That's really interesting. So, like, were you saying there that when you first come up with the song, you'll have it with guitar picking and singing, like you'll have a vocal line, but then once you record the bass, the song will have a different kind of character to it or a different flow, and then you go back to the vocals and you adapt them to the music that
Yeah,
you've
also
recorded.
different notes because they kept the core notes, but maybe I changed the gamma. I don't know in English how to say it. So and maybe the vocals they don't stick anymore. I have to really to change. Sometimes the vocal lines has to be changed and shifted a bit. The lyrics stays the same, but sometimes it's the backing vocals mostly that I have to build in order to give this cohesion.
Yeah.
And my live, for example, it will be raw in a sense because it will be just me, the guitar, and the vocals. So it will be a folk ambient live. You won't listen to what you're listening in the records. I'm still not an octopus, so I can't play everything.
And you're not going to have any backing tracks or any looping pedals or anything like that.
I thought about it. Maybe I could do that with for backing vocals. It could be interesting. But at the same time, I want to keep something. I want to keep it relatively simple. All
Yeah.
right. I don't want to have a huge pedal board with. I mean, also for a practical reason, it's because I probably will travel by train. Can you imagine with the guitar with a no? So we think about that. And the loop, yeah, it can be a nice thing to integrate in the live at some point. I have to think about that. For the moment, I don't. Just a lot of vocal processor because I like
Yeah.
them.
I guess it does. It really does depend on the kind of effect that you want, because you can use a lot of this technology and equipment to add something, but then it takes it in a different direction from something that's more sort of organic, I suppose.
Yes, I don't want it to lead to be too much synthetic. I mean, I'm still gonna play with an acoustic guitar. Sure, there will be a lot of reverb, is what characterize what I do, but I still want to keep the natural side alive. I don't want it to be completely synthetic, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a balance. I don't know. I have to see. I never played live yet with Ailise Blake, so I can't tell you yet.
Ah, okay. So when you were still in JC Satan, before you had this opportunity to, or you created this opportunity to express yourself through your own project, were you still making your own music that just wasn't being released?
Yes, I had this project called Macabre that I used to do something like between shoegaze and black metal was something like that. I have it on my Bandcamp and it was very fun, but I never. Oh no, yes, I released a tape. Wait, I did it. Oh, for two labels also. I forgot it. Two labels. I released the tape twice, and yeah, I didn't have time really to write a lot of songs, but they are dear to me. It was 2012 when I released the tape. Yeah, it was not so far from what I'm doing today. I'm still in the middle of the shoegaze. I don't know. You see, as I told you before, I don't like people to categorize music, but at the same time, sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
How can I want to explain to you? So yes, I had a project. Yes,
Yeah, I know
I
what you
had
mean.
also another band.
Yes.
Oh,
Uh, uh,
La Sec
uh,
du Futur.
I was just about to try and pronounce it, and I thought it's better if you just say it.
La Secte du Futur, the sect of the future. It was I used to sing with them,
Ah,
and
because
that's
I was
another
going to
thing.
ask you about that, about where the singing tied into playing bass and playing other instruments. So how far back were you singing?
What do you mean when you say how far back?
Like you sort of said that you've been sort of always making music in one form or another. Like what came first for you? Was it playing guitar? Was it singing? Was it playing bass?
Oh, both. I start with play. I start when I was a kid with guitar and I start singing. Then I developed a passion for the bass when I was like teenager, and I start playing bass constantly. And I study at a music school conservatoire in Turin, but for the stand-up bass.
Oh,
And I
nice.
start, yeah, it was pretty cool. And then just after these studies, I moved to Bordeaux to play with Satan. So the bass has always been something came later in my life, but it's what I like to say that's what I do the best because maybe it's what I like the most. I think is a beautiful instrument. And vocals, I always sang, always. And it was very fun with La Sec du Futur, yes. To have a band when you have also only to sing. At first was difficult because sometimes when you play an instrument, it's like your cover, duvet. You can just hide behind it. When you sing, it's not like this, so it was difficult the first time. But then I didn't sing alone. I was with Pierre, the other singer. It was very
Yeah.
fun.
So thinking about, and I want to see if I can pronounce it correctly the first time. Soave?
Yes, yeah, you did
Hooray.
it.
So one thing that I noticed is that you've got some very beautiful physical versions of the album coming out on These Hands Melt. You've got a
Yes.
beautiful colored vinyl, you've got CD, you've got cassette. So I was wondering how kind of important that physical visual side of the album was to you and how that came together with These Hands Melt.
Yeah, I have a strong relation with visual in what I do. So when Mauro from This Unmelt contact me that he wanted to release Ailise Blake in a physical format, the first thing we I said is, yeah, but I want a vinyl because the visual has to be as I say, because to me is as much important as the music. And he answered to me, yeah, to me as well. And then I went to to watch all his releases on his label, and wow, they are beautiful because in the label there is Lucia that does the graphic designing also. Not only Lucia, other, but I work personally with her, and it's a very curated label. It's very what convinced me to sign with them is the fact that they are independent, small, new, but they have so much passion and the releases are beautiful. And he accepted immediately, which is pretty difficult today when you are an artist that doesn't tour, that doesn't have any previous release, to find a label that gives them vinyl, CDs, cassette. I mean, less and less because the price of the vinyl is stellar in Europe at least, but also in USA. So I felt super lucky, and the visual to me are extremely important, extremely important. So I found a very nice feel to work with them in that case. Yeah, I was very happy to work with. I am very happy to work with them.
Yeah, it's a very evocative cover. If I understand it correctly, if I see the visuals, so you've got on the front cover, you're posing with your hair covering your face, and on the back cover, it's like you're looking back.
There
So I
you have
like
it.
that the contrasting views.
Yes, is are not my hair. It's a scarf that made something like a weird shape. And that's just me, but it reminds me, you know, the film Silent Hill, the pyramid head? Sometimes I'm watching like, ah, it looks like it. Sorry. And it's made it at my family house outside. It's a very dear place to me. And yes, the back, I wanted to shoot the cover with an old Polaroid camera of my mother because I wanted to keep this old feeling, you know. And I did 6 shots, and these two were the ones that I choose. And one I was not watching, and the other I was, and I was like, let me do both. They look nice, and I'm very happy. I like a lot. Also, the inside, you can see them now, I think. All in the book, in the CD, we have a booklet. It's a sequence of 6 pictures in movement. They are also in the tape, and I really love them. How it came out, I really love them.
Yeah, that's right. So now you've reminded me because you also have this as your profile picture on Bandcamp. There's some sort of ritualistic sequence here of you with a sword on the ground in
Yes.
front of a fireplace. So tell me what this is about.
Well, I was filming the video of Apollo, and I had this beautiful Templar sword, and it's still in the same house. The cover was made outside, and the video was tour. Parts of the video were tour inside, and I had some nice shot like this one that were made with an old Kodak camera that I found it being very nice. And I wanted to keep some esoteric element like the fire and the air that it's represented of with the sword. You have fire and the air, you have the earth, and then the record. Yeah, water is everywhere again. So it was yeah, I was pretty satisfied when I saw the shots. I don't know if you see the video. I
No, I
liked
haven't
it. I
seen the
did it
video
all
yet.
I did it all by myself. Also, the second one, it's funny. Can be a bit longer, but it's fun
I will
to
I will
film.
check them. I'll check them out afterwards and I will report back.
All right, count on it.
Something as well, just sort of like rounding things off in a way. I'm part of what I'm interested in this podcast is to sort of explore people's experiences as independent underground artists and sort of the things that are useful and the things that you sort of just have to deal with. And so I'm wondering, from the point of view of, you have your writing, you have your recording, you've got all these elements that you do yourself. You make this music, you've got a platform where you can release it, you've got a label, you've got these beautiful physical editions that are going to come out. In terms of the way that you promote yourself, and like you've got your website, obviously, then there's the social media, and there's things like Spotify and all this. Like, what's your relationship with all of these external elements? How do you feel about the role that they've got now?
So I fucking suck with promoting because I don't like social media in reality. I use Instagram as my fundamental way of spreading awareness about my music, but I really don't use Spotify. I have Bandcamp, but as an independent artist and a small artist, unfortunately, promotion is the Achilles heel. I mean, you can have all these beautiful releases, as you say, and everything, but if you don't have a good promoter, it's very complicated. Very complicated. You can have followers and everything, but you need somebody that does this for a job and help you. Because I find myself now, even now that the album is not out yet, to have to answer, I don't know how many email and planning stuff that I don't really like that side. With JC Satan, we had people that used to do this for us, and then just now I understand how lucky we were, or I was. And so I think I'm speaking for me, but probably for a lot of other artists, that the promoting slash booking, but again, booking can be resolved. If you have some contacts, you can do a good job in planning gigs. The promoting, if you don't have this side, it can be difficult. And all the Instagram posts and stuff, they won't really matter. You need somebody that works with you on that. But again, social media, I like it, and sometimes I think when I scroll, that it looks all the same. Maybe it's my feed, I don't know, but it looks all the same to me. And I'm like bored after 2 minutes. I use it because living in France, a lot of friends are in Italy, so we communicate a lot via also in Bordeaux. My friends in Bordeaux, I have a lot of friends in Bordeaux. We communicate via Insta, so I'm always at the phone on the phone. Yeah, if I didn't have them, I don't know if I'm not much social media, but I have to. If I really have to, it's still part of the job. It is.
Yeah. No, I completely relate to that. I find that it's just like I left all this stuff. Like I left Instagram and Facebook and I went like, right, I'm done with all of this stuff. And then as soon as I started creating anything, I realized like, oh, okay, I kind of have to use these
No, but you
tools.
can't. To me, for example, even Spotify, I don't use it. I'm an old girl that loves YouTube. I don't like Spotify. I had to put Spotify because I had to create playlists, and I don't give a fuck. But I had to do it. So like you, in a way, I'm forced to, yeah, I have to bow down at social media. We are in 2025. It's part of the job. Without it, we don't do anything. There's not much
Yeah.
to say. It's just that. Which is beautiful in a way, having social media, because look at me. I can have a label and everything is all thanks to social media, right? Because we are so, the artist music scene is oversaturated. We are so many, which is another double-edged sword sort of situation, all right? So you have so many artists all the time thanks to social media, but also you have contacts and people that can meet you with social media. So it depends. But yeah, it bothers me sometimes. I
Yeah.
wish I didn't have to
Yeah, I
to
feel like
comply with all that.
yeah, I guess in a way, like it's sort of the same topic really as what I was saying right at the beginning about the amazing capacity of using Zoom for us to be able to talk to each other from different
Yeah.
countries. It's like there's a wonderful benefit from this, but I also feel like I don't want to let it become the primary thing, that all I'm thinking about is like, oh, I'm going to like go on Instagram and how am I going to do this and how am I going to post that? Because essentially at the end of the day, I want to be able to like appreciate art, and I want to be able to make art, and I want to be able to create, and I want to be able to enjoy creativity and inspiration. And I feel like Instagram is not the heart of pure
Yeah,
inspiration.
I do understand that, and all, but also at the same time, I try, for example, in my small Instagram world to post stories a lot about art and artists, contemporary or past artists or books. That's what I like to do to for myself, because I really like to enjoy watching and discover new artists, and that's beautiful. But and also to show this to other people, because I have friends that maybe they don't know this artist from Argentina that is amazing. So that's I like just post funny stupid memes about asses and stuff. I really like that. It makes me
Me
laugh a
too.
lot. Yeah, oh, perfect. And and yeah, but unfortunately, sometimes you are obliged to think. I am, for example, this week my album will go out, so I have to think about. I have to do a post. Which hour I have to post? That I don't know. Honestly, I suck. I reiterate that I suck at promoting. So I have to think about this. I have to do the pictures. I have to repost in all the platform. To me, as you say, unfortunately, it is part of the job, and you have to think about that. You have to think about promotion, and it's the only way, especially when you don't have a promoter.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't. It's really fundamental.
Yeah, as you say, having brought up double-edged sword before, there are definitely double-edged swords at play here. Ali, it was great to get to talk to you in real time and to talk about your music and to chat with you in general. It was very fascinating for me. So I'm going to go away and I'm going to watch your videos, and I
Oh,
will
thank you. It was very funny and
report back with my
pleasant also
impressions.
to talk to you. Thank you so much.